All right, the second edition is here and it's bigger and better than ever. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm MK Williams. I'm an author and independent publisher. I love sharing my insights about all things self-publishing with you. Before I get into the details of today's video, don't forget to hit subscribe. That way you can be here every week as I release new videos on self-publishing, making a career of being an author, and now being a mompreneur. All right, this week I'm going to let you all in on a super exciting announcement, but the second edition of Self-Publishing for the First-Time Author is done. I wrote this book back in late 2019. It was published in March 2020. Is there anything going on in March 2020? Yeah. So it didn't really get the big splash I was hoping for, but it's done really well. Like really well. Like this is my best-selling book to date, although Going Wide is definitely hot on its heels. But a lot has changed since early 2020, and not just in the world at large, but in self-publishing. The book needed an update because there were things that were outdated to the point of being the opposite of helpful, right? So like I had in here like, oh, KDP doesn't offer hardcovers. That's not true anymore. I talked about Smashwords because that was the platform that I use, but I didn't talk about other platforms. And now that Smashwords is being acquired by Dr. Digital, I was like, okay, like I need to make sure more platforms than just the ones that I'm using are in there. There were also a lot of questions that I kept getting on this channel that I didn't include because I wanted this book to stay simple and easy for first-time authors. I didn't want first-time authors to feel overwhelmed with information, but I started realizing there was a big gap in not specifically talking about barcodes, not specifically talking about copyright pages as compared to copyright registrations. So I wanted to make sure that was in there, and I'm starting to realize, y'all first-time authors, you're getting more sophisticated, so I wanted to have the answers in here for you. And also since 2019, early 2020, I've worked on a lot more projects for my clients, and there was more information to include. So I had more information to include to the tune of about 10,000 words. So that's a new edition. Now I took this opportunity with the new edition saying, you know what, I'm going to reformat the print from being the smaller size that I just really liked at the time to being the 5.5 by 8.5. So that way I could have the same print interior for paperback and also release a hardcover, because right now my AYA books don't have a hardcover except for self-publishing for the first-time author. So I wanted to make sure if I'm going back and retouching it, I have to do new ISBNs anyways. Let me go ahead and just do the new trim as well. So how did I do this? So with self-publishing, we authors have the luxury of being able to make updates. Like if we find a little teeny tiny typo, we can just update the file. But when it's a material update, so 10% or more change to the text, and in my case, 10,000 words is pretty material. It's a new cover, it's a new trim size. You need to make it a new edition because it is considered a new book. And a new edition needs a new ISBN and all that jazz that goes with it. So it's pretty much like publishing a new book for the first time, but it's actually a bit more complicated because you want to make sure you're carrying over reviews. You want to make sure the old edition is no longer available for sale. There's extra I's to dot and T's to cross. In 2020, I did a video about producing a second edition for my very first book ever, Nail Biters. And at the time that I released that, I had Nail Biters available as an ebook wide. I had it available on print just on KDP. And as I released the second edition, I decided, okay, well, I'm also going to put it out wide in print with IngramSpark. I'm going to finally get the audiobook done for it. Like there was a lot that I hadn't done for Nail Biters where I was like, okay, if I'm doing the second edition, let's just go and make sure it's updated everywhere and like actually get more formats out across multiple platforms. So it was a little bit easier to do that second edition versus the second edition for self-publishing for the first-time author because this book was already out wide in all formats across all platforms. So there's a bit more to do. So many of the platforms for self-publishing don't include instructions anywhere on how to do second editions. You can mark that something is a second edition or a third edition or whatever. They let you know how you can update the book, but they don't really tell you how to make something a second edition. And I don't blame them to a certain extent. This isn't something that authors should be doing left and right. If they're just fixing a little typo, it does not need to be a new edition. But in general, like, come on, guys, like, KDP, IngramSpark, like, come on, like, let's get some information out there for people. So for most of these platforms, I needed to reach out to support and ask them what I needed to do. So in some cases, I had to ask support to remove the first edition from distribution, like with IngramSpark and Findaway Voices. In others, I just needed to wait for the system to update and sync, which was ACX. Initially, I thought I was going to have to reach out to ask them to remove the audiobook from distribution, but thankfully, because ACX and KDP are owned by the same parent company, it linked it to the new Kindle edition. And so I was just able to update the audio files instead of uploading a whole new audiobook and asking the old one to be removed. So that was really nice. With all things, this took timing and planning. First figuring out where the book was, where was it published, making a list of all my platforms, doing the actual edits to the ebook master file, then to the print interior, then for the audiobook files, doing new uploads, and then just double checking that all the links were correct. Now for me, as most of y'all know, I have a baby girl, so I was really only able to work in like an hour or so shift each day on these edits, and it took me about 3 weeks. I think if I had more time to work during the day, I probably could have knocked this out in a week, no problem. But that was just kind of my process. It definitely is a lot to manage. So I took my checklist that I had for everything, I cleaned it up, and I made it available for you to use as well. So you can get your checklist directly from me on my PayHip or my Etsy store. And yes, there is going to be a small cost associated, and like after fees on the platforms, I'm only going to make like 30, 50 cents on it. But if I have a price, then I know you're actually going to use it. So for all the free checklists I've ever provided, I don't see people making use of it the way I would like them to, because it's free, right? You download it, you forget about it. Whereas if this one, I know that if you pay for it, you're like, okay, I have to use this when the time comes. You're going to use it. And I think it's really going to help you. And that's why that's there. Okay, so I have links below for where you can get this second edition self-publishing checklist from me. Now you can use this for third, fourth, fifth editions, etc. But my biggest advice for you in doing a second edition is that it doesn't happen all one day or one instance, okay? Pack your patience. It's okay. It takes some time to update these things, and it should take time, okay? So let me know, which of your books are you doing a second edition for? Or if you know a newbie author who needs help figuring it all out, tell them about the second edition for self-publishing for the first-time author. All right, if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to hit subscribe, or you can click that brand new thanks button down there. That lets YouTube know that you're getting value from this information and they can put it in front of other authors like us. Now you can go back to writing your book. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. And before you head off elsewhere in YouTube to watch more videos, whether on my channel or another channel, I did want to let you know that you can support this channel and get more information that can make a really positive impact on your author career by joining the channel membership that I have right here on YouTube for this channel. So what I'm going to be doing is providing additional videos each month. They're going to be really like a mastermind deep dive on a specific topic to help your author business. And you can just head to the homepage for this channel, as you can see here, and click join. Boom. And you can see that there's multiple options. There's a tier each month where it's really to make you feel good about supporting the channel. You get some custom badges for your comments. But the one you'll probably really want is the ambitious author tier, where you're going to be getting some members only videos once a month that I mentioned. So I would really be excited if you join the membership and we can work on our author businesses together this year. So hope to see you chatting and joining in with those videos.